Is this one of those interviews where you're gonna a gotcha moment?
Hell, you know what? Hell
Gotcha.
no. I mean,
Play it.
we're just going to start. So
There you go.
I'll tell you, I'm here with Mark Spears, and I just witnessed a signing at Nirvana Comics. Dude, it was a blast.
That was the biggest crowd I've ever seen for a signing that I've had.
I'll tell you, I've never seen an artist interact with people as much as you do.
Well, the reason I do that is because, people come out to see you and
Yeah.
you want to, they didn't just come out for a signature. They want, they want to interact with you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've learned, especially like Todd McFarlane, guys like that, they make everybody feel a little bit special when
Right.
they're in line.
Right.
Because if you're waiting in line, you're like, well, why am I waiting to see this guy for? So I try to make them, little happy. When
I saw a guy bring a portfolio of his work for you.
Yeah, that was.
Which watching the interviews with you and Todd,
Uh-huh.
saw that, and the amount of work it took for you to even get in the door of anybody.
Oh, yes.
I thought, here he is paying it forward.
Yeah.
You took a lot of time with that guy.
Yeah, because I know what that's like.
Yeah.
When I was, he's 25, so when I was around that age, and I was trying to break into comics, I just had horrible time with these guys when I would send in stuff through the mail. I would send 30 submissions out a month, and I would get back, not just rejection letters. Rejection letters are one thing, form letters saying,
yep.
But there were some people that really got on to me saying, don't send this no more. Don't even send anything to us.
Oh my God.
And that was I won't say what editor, but there was an editor one time at Green Lantern at that time. So
Yeah.
it's so sweet that I've got a Green Lantern cover coming out in December. I love that. And I would write that guy, but he's no longer there. So,
gotcha.
but that's sweet. I did have a call from Marvel. I've said this on different interviews and stuff. Marvel called me when I was around 20 years old,
Yeah.
and I thought, they left a message with my father, and I'm like, oh man, it's happened. I finally
you made it.
Yeah. And I couldn't sleep that night. The next day, I just because I was waiting for New York time because I'm from Alabama. So I was waiting. I was like, okay, about 8 o'clock Eastern time, they'll be in their office. I don't want to seem too eager. I'll wait
Right.
till 8:30.
Let it ring a couple of times.
And so it finally calls in, and then it transfers me over because it was the Hulk office. And I'm like, oh man, it's going to be Hulk, my favorite character. Turns out it was the submissions editor there trying to get a hold of me to tell me to stop sending in submissions.
Oh my God.
And was saying, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 19, 20. And he's like, I got guys that are 16. They're so much better than you. He said, you need to just quit. You never need to do this again. And he could tell it kind of hurt me a little bit because I stopped talking. Because you don't expect people to call you up and tell you how horrible you are. Yes, to put it plainly. Yeah.
Right.
And I remember I had went to a comic book store a couple months after that, and I was telling them that story because I really thought everybody experienced that, right? Because I'm thinking I wasn't special. And they were like, we've never heard of that. Well, I remember telling Todd that and other guys, 20 years later, they're like, still, we'd never heard of that. And I'm like, so it's weird.
No.
It is weird that they did that. When I won my Rondo Award for horror, I did look that guy up.
You should have looked at the camera.
Yes, I should have said it to the camera. I did look him up, not to be, I was just going to say, hey, if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't have been as motivated to keep getting better. Because, but sadly, he had passed away about a year earlier, so he didn't get to see the success I had.
Yeah.
That was sad. But things like that they drive me more, right?
Okay.
When two things that drive me: when you tell me no, or that I'm no good, or competition. Those are the two things. Like if somebody else, honestly, when I was going to start doing covers in 23, I had wrote someone that was in the industry. And I said, I hadn't kept up with comics for a little while. I said, who are the best two artists right now?
Yeah.
So they told me, and I said, okay, that's who I'm going for. And
who were the two best? Come on now. Let's do a scoop here.
It was Clayton and Peach.
Okay.
They said that was the two hottest,
which are totally different
styles.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, because I think I asked cover artists, and they said that's the two, and I was like, okay, that's the pinnacle that I got to hit then. And so I started working so hard.
You didn't do watercolor though, did you?
No, but I was
Instead,
like,
just true to your.
yeah, I was like, okay, but I don't have to mimic their style. That's just what the industry says right
That's
now.
the new shiny penny
yes.
right now. Yeah.
Like if you'd asked back in the early 90s, it would have been Todd McFarlane, Jim
Right.
Lee, and
Yep.
stuff. So that's what I was sitting there thinking, okay, that's who I got. That's the standard that's way up high that I've got to somehow climb that ladder and get to.
Yeah, yeah.
But that competition, you know, when I see someone else, when they pass over me for a cover and give it to someone else, and that just drives
You
me.
go look at that cover.
Oh,
right?
I do.
And say, what
I look at that and I
I
go,
beat that.
yes, I'm like,
That's right.
So I love that. It's just the competitive nature in me. So I try to use that, and I do still, even to this day, and that's what I was telling the guy that I was looking at his portfolio. I still get no's. I got no's last week.
Did you?
Yeah, I still get.
No, wait a second. You've hit for this last 2 weeks at number one on cover. You've hit rock star status, right?
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I have seen that. I have seen it with different companies talking to me differently.
I bet.
Which is great. But yes, I had a book turned down by a publisher that had already had it about a month ago. They were deciding, and last week they told me, "Yeah, no, we're not going to do it." And I was
"Did you say? Do you see where the Bride of Frankenstein's at?"
I was tempted to tell them, like, did they realize that? But it's a committee thing and all that. So I don't think they knew that. No, they didn't really understand what was going on with that.
Yeah.
But I have submissions in right now to Image Comics that never heard back from, and I'm sure I won't.
I think the phone's going to start ringing and ringing.
Phone could start ringing.
I mean, even this exclusive behind us for Nirvana Comics, the EC homage of it is just unbelievable. And we were just talking while we were setting these up. This cardstock, this is a good comic.
It's great to sign because it's just it holds the paint very well. I love the cardstocks. But when I was going to do my Kickstarter, I was going to do one cover. This is funny because people are like, "What?" And because I didn't like variant covers much.
I don't either.
Right? I'm not a variant cover guy.
I bought all yours.
Right. I mean, I'm not a variant cover guy, but I was doing it, and I come up with one cover for each issue because I had 8 in the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking one night, I was like, wait a second. I'm a cover artist. People pay me to do this for a living.
Yeah.
It would be stupid of me not to do a couple more covers.
Sure.
And I also had no work. I mean, again, I was struggling last year around this time, no work. So I was like, I can devote all this time to doing covers for this. So I did, I want to say it was around 30 to 40 covers for Monsters, you know, over
for the
whole 8 issues.
Yeah.
So one had the most, but then the other ones had like at least 3.
Yeah.
And I just went and I said, okay, what are the best homages out there? What do people love to see homage? And I said, I'll one up them, and that's what I did. I went down the list.
That Hulk and the cross with Dracula.
Yep.
Holy smokes! And we're going to show that on the screen for sure. I think everything that you hit knocked it out of the park. There's not a book in number one, and that's all I've seen is number one and some pieces of number 2. There's not a bad cover in there. It was like, even the crowd out there today was like, oh man, did you see this one? Did you see this one? Did you see this one? It's just awesome.
I was worried about putting that many covers out. There's 5 regular, and then there was a couple, incentives and stuff. And I talked to Keen Spot about that, and I said, I do think we should have covers. And they said, well, let's do 5. And I was like, 5? I said, won't that, upset people? No, the feedback I've got is they were saying, like, people were saying, please keep doing 5 because they want to collect them. The Bride cover's done so well, but what's so funny is I almost didn't have that one in the original 5 comics.
So cover. was that made for this comic, or was that done before?
It was cover 1A for the Kickstarter.
Okay.
So I did it for that because I thought, okay, because a lot of the monsters are male. I saw I have one female because I didn't have many females in the on the covers.
Yeah.
So I did that one, and I thought it was a good image. I thought I'll do that as 1A. But if you look back at the numbers on the Kickstarter, because again, only 1,500 were printed throughout 1 through 8.
Gotcha.
Right? So very, very low print run. The Bride covers were ordered lower then like there was the werewolf homage to Spider-Man 1.
Yep.
It was ordered lower than that. It was ordered lower than the Spawn homage that's coming out with issue 2
Okay.
with Dracula and Spawn. So it honestly, when we were looking to what covers to put in the Keen Spot release, I was like, I don't know if that's even worth putting in here because it did okay. No one really was like, I love it or anything. So I almost did not put it in there. And then I was like, okay, I guess, it'll at least round it out, have a female in the 5, but did not expect it to do that well because, again, it didn't do that well on Kickstarter. The other ones did.
Well, what's nuts about that is the number 1 comic.
Yes.
2 weeks trending.
2 weeks, yep.
And with the big old stitches down her, she's still hot as hell, right?
Yeah.
Now, who was the inspiration for the bride?
Now,
is there a politically correct answer to this?
If I say my wife, she'll get mad at me. But that expression, that would be it.
Okay.
She probably won't watch this video. But basically what I do when I sit down to figure out what these monsters look like, my inspiration for that. Because I come up with her design a couple of years back with the stitches and the staples and what she was going to wear and all that stuff. And there's little things there that you might not notice, like one of her eyebrows is missing a little hair in it, stuff like that. So I come up with that, and the way when you want to paint something, you got to know kind of like with the way the light's going to hit it, what it looks like. So like if you tell me, hey Mark, I want you to do the story, say it's Spawn, I've got to know what all these characters look like in there, right? I can't just go in there like I'm penciling it. Where in my older pencil style, character A might look just like character B, but it's got a different haircut, right? You know what I'm saying? When you're doing 2D. So when you're doing a 3D realistic style like that, the semi-realistic, I had to know, what can I do? Like Alex Ross uses real life people a lot, where he'll take photos of them and stuff like that.
And he paints.
Yeah, he paints traditional. Yeah, right. I paint digital, so it's totally different. And I was like, what can I do? Because you got to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
So at one time I was trying to use action figures. I was like, that just doesn't work. So I've finally developed a way I could do it to where if you have a 3D model, I could keep it consistent. Right. Okay. So then I could turn the head, whatever, and it's going to be kind of consistent there. But I wasn't good at 3D modeling. So what I did there, I learned a little bit, and then basically painting it saves me with that because I can do whatever there.
Gotcha.
But the structure will stay the same. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So some people have said she looks like Pamela Anderson. I saw that on some videos.
I did too.
And I was like, wow. So I looked at it and went, kind of, I guess. But no, that was it. That wasn't the inspiration.
Well, you do have most of your females very voluptuous. Is that the proper way?
Yeah, that would be the political term.
And sheer tops. Not like I'm into those girly books. No, I'm not.
Right.
But I'll tell you.
But
this bride is at number 1 for a couple of reasons.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, but I thought you painted this. And I'm not taking anything away from digital painting.
Oh, no.
But it looks like it's from a canvas print.
Right.
It really does.
The way a lot of people ask me that at shows or signings and stuff, they were like, is this traditional or is this digital?
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to get to that point where it blends and you don't really know. Because if you do look closer at my stuff, on comic books, it's probably, it's very downscaled. But there is like a canvas texture to it.
Yeah.
I use that because I just love it. I love the way, paint hits the grooves. And the way some of it will be lighter, some of it will be darker. So I use that. And I try to do really bright colors, something that other people really haven't done a lot in the past with my color palette.
Is that what they refer to this artificial color? I've heard it talked about in some of your interviews where they brought up artificial color.
Well, that was a thing where when I first got the job doing Spawn covers, I heard from the editor. He said, "Hey, Todd hates artificial color," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I just wanted the job.
Yeah.
And then I wrote back. So what do you mean
is artificial color? Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, like a purple sky." Todd goes, "There's that's artificial. That's not real. He wants real life color. So when you're in a room, you shouldn't have greens or blues hitting you like artificial color.
Gotcha.
Of course, movies use artificial color all the time because you want that cinematic look and everything.
And everybody's got Govee lights and everything now. So.
Yes, So I was so nervous doing the Spawn stuff originally. I did the clown was my first one. And I was so scared of what colors I could use, right? So I was so nervous. So I didn't want to use, two like purples because they actually said, don't use purple skies, all this stuff. So I did that, turned it in. We had some revisions on that with the minions and stuff, but they liked it. By the second one, I got comfortable enough to where I was like, I'm going to make him tell me that he don't like it.
There you go.
Right? I'm not going to do what I think he'll like.
Yeah.
And by the end, when I did the fourth cover, I actually had a purple background. They said nothing on it. So
let me ask you about the cat in that clown thing.
Yes.
Is that the same cat in the other cover?
The same cat in Sam and Twitch. Yes.
Okay.
And I did that because they told me when I was doing that cover for Gunslinger, which I didn't know what they were going to fall at that time, if that was going to be Gunslinger, Spawn, whatever. But it was called the clown cover at the time. The first one I worked on, I said, well, what do you want? I'm used to people telling me, they want this or that on a cover.
Yeah.
They just said clown, some minions. And I said, well, but what do you want? And they said, if you had to show this to your girlfriend and she goes, ew, that's the cover we want. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what could it be? What could I do? What would be fun? And then I thought, what if one of them was holding a cat and you don't know what's going on? Like, are they going to hurt the cat? Yeah. Are they going to eat it? So then I did that and had scratches on it and everything. My wife comes in there to look at it and she said, well, did they tell you to add a cat? And I said, no. She said, well, they're probably going to make you redo the whole thing. And I said, I trust. Todd says if it's cool, it's good. Yeah. And I said, I trust that. Let's see. And now they loved it. Loved it.
So we're getting a cat action figure?
I don't know.
Storyline?
That's up to Todd. That would be amazing if they did a cat figure for that. People have mentioned that the clown did talk to a cat early on in Spawn, like issue 4 or so.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
And I didn't realize that, but yes, he's talking to a cat at that time. So it would be hilarious if that cat was somebody like turned into a cat or something later on. But I brought it back for Sam and Twitch because again on that cover I had no idea what to do. So I just started doing Sam and Twitch. I was like, I'm going to throw that cat in there. This is the perfect time to have that cat. And so I threw it at the bottom and it's a little nod to the fans. They loved it.
So I heard Sam and Twitch got optioned.
Oh yeah.
And we'll see what happens with that. But so when you create something out of the blue like a cat.
Yep.
Residuals, anything like that, or once you do a cover and you get paid for it, it's paid for and you're done.
Yeah. On that, well, the cat, I guess it's a little different story since it's a cat.
Right.
But now usually on everything is a buyout, like your contract. So when they pay you, they're buying the rights to that cover forever and you're done. So no royalties, no residuals and stuff like that. But now if it's something later on where they go, hey, we want you to do this, different contract, then because if you're creating characters, like in a series or something, that's a different
like
thing.
This.
Right.
This is all yours.
Yeah.
Writer, drawer, artist.
The only thing I didn't do was letter it. And
I heard you say you don't like lettering.
I started out saying I was going to save a few bucks and I was going to letter it. So I was into about 2 pages and I was like, this is, I understand where the placement is and everything, but it's just the fonts and there's just certain, it's an artistry on its own.
I can't imagine.
And it would have taken me too long, probably a year or two, to just understand everything and grasp what, the meaning of different things and all that. So I did manipulate some of the letters in the first issue and stuff where I thought, okay, this needs to be moved over here. Yeah. This needs to be big. Like the whole scene, I think it's where it's the Night of the Living Dead scene.
With the dialogue on TV.
I changed all that, I think, to where it got bigger and bigger and then where it was and all that kind of stuff.
Which is the art of that lettering. I mean, you've got to, I mean, God knows technology now. When I was a kid buying comics in the 70s and 80s, it was straight bubbles and
Yeah.
that same font. And now that we've grown in with technology where all caps mean you're screaming on a text and all
Yeah.
these different things, you have to have something that really illustrates it. And I thought reading that book, I read it again this morning. And I thought, oh, the whole barber thing. I remember using that sample on one of my albums. And it was great. I wanted to ask you about the black and white.
Yeah.
So you go from black and white. Is that to tell the different time periods?
Yeah, originally it was colored. I had thought about putting it black and white at the very beginning, but I was like, if I do that, I'm going to color it, and then I will not just take the color out of it, but actually recolor it black and white. But once it's colored, I can look at it and I go, okay, change the reds to be black and white. It should be this level, that level,
Gotcha.
things like that. So I did that, and I was going back and forth all the way up until probably a week before it went to.
Wow!
A week before the Kickstarter went to print, I was like, "Do I color it? Do I not?" And I was like, "I'm going to do black and white," because the cards that I've done before, the trading cards, I would have a variant of those cards be black and white, and people would always say how they loved it. And I was like, okay, I think this is great because, but I was worried because you're talking about half the book is black and white.
Yeah.
And you're buying a book thinking, well, it's going to be color, and those pages are black and white. So I was worried, but that's what I hear people love.
I'll tell you, it worked perfectly for me. And I'm so picky about comics. They stink, I say it. This stinks, the cover sucks, and blah, blah. This worked, this flowed so well. But I got to ask you some questions.
Okay.
All right. On this, who the hell's Billy Hinderman? Is that a real person?
No.
Oh, I thought we were going to get some good Jew. Like he was the kid that beat me up in elementary school or something like that.
Kinderman is from The Exorcist Detective Kinderman. I love the name because that if you look at what Kinderman means, that's why they say kindergarten. It means something like childlike or something like that.
Okay.
So if you look up Detective Kinderman from Exorcist, that's where I got the last name.
Okay.
Billy, because I wanted something that was one syllable, like Mike, Billy, or is Billy two? No. Oops. Yeah.
Edit that.
Edit that part. But I wanted something because I have these other kids in it that you will see later. You saw one of the kids. One of them's named Mikey. One of them's named Richie, and one of them's named Melvin. So Melvin, which I knew a Melvin when I was little, and it kind of looks like him. So, but that's what that is. It's a mash. There's a lot of little Easter eggs like that.
That's what I'm wondering.
In there. Yes.
So Van Helsing looks like somebody to me. Is it Peter Cushing?
I will not confirm that.
I think I'm right on this one. Or close.
I wanted someone that when you looked at it, you would
go,
think
who is
that
guy?
Look like Pete. I mean, that might look like.
We got it.
That might look like Van Helsing.
Yeah.
So I did want him to have that. Honestly, it's that, but if you look at it, it's a little bit of a Fright Night. The what's his name?
The old guy that had the house originally.
Yeah, no, the guy, the monster hunter on TV on Fright Night. What's his name?
I don't remember his name.
He was in the Planet of the Apes, the actor.
Not Roddy McDowall.
Roddy McDowall.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
His character, though, I forget what his character name is. Fright Night, but a little bit of that because he was a monster hunter.
Yeah.
A little bit of Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
A little bit of just whoever, and stir it up, and boom.
All right, I like it. Now the Slayer guy.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
Yeah.
It's like a Zorro, kinda. It's like
yeah.
I mean, he's mysterious. You wanted to make a mysterious guy?
Yes.
He is mysterious. The whole I'm gonna take your mask off, and then what happens to that guy? I was like, boom, done.
Yes.
Not messing around, no small talk, done.
I wanted a character that I loved characters like Boba Fett back in the days, the old Boba Fett, where they never showed you what he looked like. Darth Vader up until Return of the Jedi, you never could see. Maybe you get a glimpse, from behind or something. And I was like, I'm going to do a character, and maybe when I'm done, he rips the mask off and you can finally see who he is.
Oh,
but you'll never know between now and then. I'll never show you who he is. and there's reasons for that will be
Happen.
revealed later. Yes,
Okay.
but I wanted somebody very mysterious. I like that look in the design that I come up with. I
Yeah, it's
thought
cool.
that that looked good
The
because
stakes across on the
yes,
bandolero,
yep.
awesome.
And I haven't revealed that in the series yet, but there are other monsters. So he's the last one.
Okay.
But if I ever show you the other ones, they were that same kind of concept.
Oh,
Maybe they didn't have the stakes here, but they
gotcha.
had the mask and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I loved it. I couldn't believe that the art in each one is as good as the covers.
Well, yeah,
Like the panels are amazing.
well, I spent a lot of time on them.
I bet you did.
Yeah, there's versions out there where I kept revising. Like I thought I was done with the art back in December of last year when I did the Kickstarter, and then I'd go through a book like every week. I'd go, I could touch that up a little bit better, and that probably messed me up a little bit because I kept not redoing it, but touching up better. Just going back in saying, this is not consistent, or the hair needs to be fixed, or this or that. So I would touch up things. I didn't really redo them or anything, but so I spent a lot of time on those. So that's why those look the way they do. But I also wanted something where people were like, when they buy it, they see the cover, they open up, it looks like the same as the cover to me, to where it's they're getting the same thing that they're buying. I don't like it when you buy something, even though I do covers. I hate when they open it up and people are unsatisfied with the inside. I think you should be satisfied.
Which is happening more and more, I think.
Yeah,
you got a cover guy, and then you got a story guy, and an artist inside. And when it's completely different, it's almost like a bait and switch to me.
It is.
I love to get a cover and know I'm going to get that. And then when you turn it over, there's a book I just recently saw. I'm not going to say the name. You can watch the show and I'll talk about it. And it looks like a child drew the whole thing inside, and the cover is amazing. This is none of this is this way. It's not going to end after 8, is it?
No, if you read 8, you'd kill me if I ended it after 8.
Okay, good, because I didn't get the Kickstarter. I found out about you when Monsters hit because I love horror, but I had talked about that Lobo cover, 1066 of Action, and brought it up on the Cover Time show, picked it as one of my favorite covers of the year, showed it to my wife, who's not a comic anything, and she said, that's a really cool cover. I said, look at the detail in this cover, not only the lighting, but if you look at every little detail that's in his table to what he's going to eat, this guy's nuts that drew this with perfectionism of the detail.
When I got a chance to do that, I was like, because I knew who Lobo was. I always loved that character. Yeah. I was like, and they gave me great direction. They said they basically laid out the scene, but I got to choose how I want it to be. But they said Lobo, he's sitting at a table. It's like Thanksgiving, big feast of alien stuff though.
Yeah.
And then they said bunch of aliens beat up behind him, and he's going to have Superman's cape in like a bib. So then my mind went, okay, the only way I could do that the best would be a straight on shot. And then I was like, oh, you could have, Lobo sitting there, with a drink. And he said, I could put something in the drink. So my mind started spinning of what I could do. And then I said, I'll have it on the ship because, he's a space character. And so, and it clicked. That was my favorite cover probably I've ever done up until, some of these monster things I really like too. But it's probably my favorite non-monster cover that I did because I really, really liked it. And DC was pleased with it. We got another Lobo cover coming out in December with Superwoman.
I saw it.
That I like too.
Oh, I love
it. This is Paul Kaminsky at DC comes up with these ideas. He was like, hey, how about she's holding him upside down? He just robbed the bank. I said, man, I'm good. That's great. If you can give me just a little direction like that, it's so much easier than if you say, pick a character and then just say do something, because then I'm like, well, what's the book about?
So on the Lobo cover, how long did that take, and how many hours a day are you talking?
Oh, I work. When I get up whenever I get up, I go right to my computer, answer emails, and then I'm working, and I'll take a break to eat. I might watch something with my wife, and then I'm back to work when she goes to bed.
Wow.
So I work daytime and night.
Yeah.
I might go to bed at 6 or 7 in the morning. I'll
Oh.
sleep till like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2, and then I'll get up and I'm back to
Back
work.
at it.
But it's not like I have to as much as, but something inside's like, I got to get that done because I love it so much. Especially if I have a cover like Lobo where I'm like, I got to work on that thing because I'm excited because I want to see what it looks like at the very end. I want
And
to
your
know.
mind's got to be just spinning all the time.
It is.
Like wake up, oh, I got to put this in the cup. And I got to put this on his plate.
And there's a lot of times where I think I don't have it. I remember there was a couple of covers where I was like, this ain't clicking. It ain't looking right. And then I'll do, I might turn it just a little bit or something. Okay, that's it. That's the direction. I'm good. So barely do I ever have to restart a cover or something. How long it takes? Sometimes I've been given deadlines by DC for like 5 days, and I can get it done in 5 days because if that's the only thing I'm doing. But it will take like Lobo might have took. I was so excited about that, but I might have had about a week and a half.
How big is the canvas, digital canvas on that?
I'm doing 250 DPI at about 11 by 17. But that can be blown up. That's how I do everything. So that can be blown up to 24 by 36 and look great.
Yeah.
It looks like I did it at that size, but and then I can be shrunk down to. So on that though, I get so obsessed with things where I'm thinking, people are seeing this detail. So I'm going in there so tiny and doing all this little stuff. And then when I see the cover come out,
it's this.
I'm like, you can't see it. It's impossible. I've even signed them sometimes where it's printed up and I can't even see the signature because I thought it's just there's a disconnect there where I think you're going to see this, but because there's so much difference in print and digital.
Yeah.
When you get it printed, it's with paper and stuff like that. It's just going to look a little different than it is. So there's things where I'd signed it and I'm like, I can't even see the signature with my eyes. It's just, maybe if I got a magnifying glass, I kind of see it. But yeah, a lot of them, I'm a little too obsessed thinking that they're going to see this. I got to add the detail and it's not even there when it's printed.
Gotcha.
So I'm still working on that, getting it to where the fine thing where I go, okay, I know this will show up. I know that won't show up. And, but it's worked out pretty good so far. There's things like, when like that King Spawn cover just come out, I signed it. They flipped it.
Yeah, you're telling me
and I was going to tell them, hey, I hid my signature in there, so y'all flip this. People are going to be like, what's this weird thing? And I was like, no, I'm going to leave it. It's a great story. So I didn't even tell them that it's flipped because now it's backwards. Because I wrote it up
on the throne, right? On the side?
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
So it's still there, but it's reversed, the letters.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was cool. But yeah, your artwork can be reversed a lot for covers if it fits better.
Yeah.
They don't really tell me much about trade dressing anymore. Used to it would be like, hey, you got to have it this way. And we got to have this much at the top.
Yeah.
But even my DC stuff that just comes out as a regular cover on the stands, they just fit it around. They said, don't worry about it.
Gotcha.
Spawn kind of needs it at the top. Give a little bit at the top. I know I did the Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger, and I had to extend that up a little bit, paint a little bit more sky because they were like, it's not enough room.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I messed it up. Because I get in the modes where I forget like
the placement of the trade.
Yeah, because of who's doing it. Like DC doesn't care. The Spawn needs that,
right,
and stuff like that. So, and on the monsters, when I do those, I try to leave some space unless it's an homage cover or something, so I could put the logo there. So that's a little thing you have to think about. But
so let's think about what got you. Why are you obsessed with monsters?
Oh gosh, I love monsters.
What's the earliest monster movie or Halloween costume you did? I mean, where did this stuff come from?
I remember watching on TV. It was the Hammer werewolf movie.
Oh, okay.
I forget is that Curse of the Werewolf?
I think it is. Any of the Hammer stuff's better.
And it was in color and stuff. And now I probably saw that early 80s on TV. And at that time, I love superheroes. I liked the Incredible Hulk TV show. That was huge for me.
Lou Ferrigno,
and basically,
right.
he's a monster in that.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand because there wasn't much out there. You didn't have VCRs at that time, so I couldn't watch like Superman over and over, the movie. But I love superheroes. And then when I would see these monsters on TV, like a Dracula or Frankenstein's monster or the Mummy or Werewolf, I was like, these are superheroes. They're just, because they didn't really make them that villainous, really.
Yeah.
Now, Hammer did a little bit more,
Sure.
you know. But I was like, they have powers, which at that age, anything that you're attracted to power, right? Because you're
Good or
very
bad.
because you're very powerless.
Right.
They cover this in all those documentaries talking about Master of the Universe, how, you know, I have the power was the best
That's
catchphrase, right? And that's the thing is because you feel when you're young like that, you feel so powerless. You know, there's bullies out there and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you're like, man, if I could change into a werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
Or if I was as strong as Frankenstein,
Right.
no one would mess with me. Or if I could be like Dracula. So I was obsessed with those. I loved them. I loved they had some action figures out at that time. I had a few. I think Remco.
Oh, they did. Remco, the little creature, the Black
small,
Lagoon, Dracula, the Universal ones.
Yes.
Yep.
See, so they were those really before there were superhero toys. They had the Mego, which they had I think the Mego.
They had DC and Marvel, yep.
So I looked at them as the same thing. I didn't really look at it as like there's something different than superheroes. Maybe they're the villains, maybe they're the same or something like that. Because the Hulk TV show taught me, you know, the Hulk was rampaging, doing all this stuff, but he still never like killed anybody or anything. So that kind of segued into my love of monsters. And then it was a love of horror. As I got older, I just, even in my teens, it was just anything horror related.
Now, what type of horror do you like? Do you like the Halloween? Do you like the Psycho? Do you like the Hostel? Scream?
Stephen King said it best. He said he's never seen a bad horror movie because the only thing they're promising you is horror, right?
Yeah.
So as long as you give me horror, I'll like it. Now, really low budget, it's pretty bad to watch. Maybe he might have said that before streaming, right?
Yeah.
So, but I like it all. I love Psycho. I love that. All the Hammer movies, the Universal movies. Texas Chainsaw is amazing. Even number 2. I look at it as from a horror fan, but then also a standpoint of cinematography and stuff. I just love their storytelling.
Sure.
But all the way from like Scream, Friday the 13th. It was great growing up in the 80s because, you know, Friday the 13th was their Halloween.
Yep.
Freddy, all those things which were just huge icons. Hellraiser. Anything I could consume, I loved all of it.
Yeah.
And I loved it if they made a sequel because that means that person became like an icon. You know? So I got to see more of them.
Yeah.
It was like a comic book, right? It was number 2 and 3 and 4.
Right. That's right.
So it was better to me if they did have sequels, but I loved them all. I remember Witchboard was an 80s.
Oh, with Connie Katan in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That thing scared me to death. I remember having nightmares on that because of that guy. I forget his name. It started with an M, but he had an axe and a beard and everything. He'd just come out of it and start chopping it. Scared me to death. Texas Chainsaw I saw when I was around 8 or 9, and I thought it was fine. It scared me, but I was okay. Went to bed. My sister woke me up, said I was screaming. Didn't know.
I did that with Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws is another.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know if I'd put it as a horror movie. I guess you can't, but it's just so good of storytelling.
It's a perfect movie, I think.
It is. And a lot of people say that's like a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Which I almost say Texas Chainsaw is almost a perfect movie. I've heard that by people. It's so good. And Halloween, the first one is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Which I also love Halloween too. I know a lot of people don't. I love the whole hospital and you know, I got a fear of needles, and they use needles the right way in it, and so I almost any 80s horror. Of course, Exorcist. I didn't even see Exorcist until I was probably 17 or 18.
I still haven't seen it.
Oh,
that's the one I won't see. I don't know why.
It's good. But I love any movies also set in the 70s or 80s. Everything was a little scarier at that time. You know, you had
Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
You remember stuff like that where it was just the top actors at the
Yes,
time
we're
were
doing
doing
those.
horror.
Yes,
Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
yes,
I mean,
love
that's
that one.
any Stephen King, because he dominated the late 70s and
Oh
80s.
yeah,
Still doing it. Salem's Lot was released
yeah,
last week.
yes, on
The new one.
HBO.
Yeah.
I love the original of that one
Me
that
too.
was
Scared
on
the hell
with
out
a
of me, that window.
Starsky and Hutch guy. I think that was the guy, the main guy in it.
Yeah, David Soul.
Yeah,
David Soul.
in that movie, that makeup just. Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I owned it on VHS when I could ever get it, and I just watched that over and over because the makeups.
Yeah.
I was attracted
And
to any of
didn't
that.
they have like the main vampire guy was like, I never say it right.
He was like Nosferatu.
Yeah, there you
he
go.
was like that, a cross between that and then like their little on Vision. But he was very similar to that because he never talked.
Right.
He had a handler that would talk and do stuff for him.
Love that movie.
But that was so good. I mean,
and it was made for TV.
That's what's shocking.
See, people don't remember those made for TV movies that we had to have,
and they were
because there weren't rentals.
Right, they were great made for TV. I like. I think it's called Dark Night of the Scarecrow. It was made in the 80s. It was made for TV. It's really good. About they killed this person in town that he had a mental problem, but they think he did this crime, so they kill him, and then he comes back as a scarecrow for vengeance.
Dark Night of the Scarecrow.
Yes,
all right, I got
one.
it.
It is so good. It's set in the 80s, and it was released probably in the mid 80s.
Was that a made for TV?
Yes, made for TV.
Okay.
Has a lot of people. Like I said, you'll notice those actors.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh yeah, I know all those guys. But
do you remember Trilogy of Terror?
Trilogy of Terror.
It's a little Zuni fetish
Oh
doll with Karen Black.
Yes.
One of my favorites.
Yes.
Got my tattoo of it right here.
That was great. Oh me. Yes, I love that. There was we had a lot of great made for TV stuff back then that I love, which is a little off horror, but the series
that came.
I was obsessed with that because that was so interesting. It's so much like Star Wars to me with the Empire, but it's V
and Battlestar Galactica, because I saw your print out there.
Yes, I love Battlestar Galactica.
The original.
Yes, the original.
Yep.
The new one's good too, but the original just
both.
had that feel of the 70s. That I think that's a lot of the times when they remake things and try to do sequels to things, they don't realize that time period.
The charm,
the charm of that. You would have to. You almost have to make the movie like you're making it in the 70s.
I agree.
And then it will have that love in it, and then it'll look like that technology. In Monsters, you'll see as it goes on, the technology I use is everything from like the 80s. I have like, which won't give too much away, but there's like, if you remember Bionic Woman Maskatron, remember they're fembots and stuff. They would take the mask off and they had this wiring and stuff.
Didn't Alex Goldman have one too? And they took his face off.
And then there was they did what's it called? Future World, the Westworld and Future World. So I have characters like that if you keep reading. I basically put everything I like, classic monsters, shows I grew up with in the 80s and everything.
Sci-fi stuff.
Yes, sci-fi stuff. Threw it all in a pot, mixed it all up, and said, this would be what I would want to read. And that's what I come up with. So, and people who've read all 8, they loved it.
Oh, I wish I would have got all 8 on When did that start? When did that Kickstarter start?
Kickstarter started in November, like the very end of November. I think that was the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And it lasted through Christmas Eve. And it was very successful. Raised $57,000 to get the book lettered and do all that, and to pay me back for all the months that I'm sitting there drawing it. But it did great, and then I thought, well, I hate that because we only had like 300 backers, which is amazing to raise that much money with 300 backers.
Yeah, it is.
And I was like, but this. Because once people started reading, I was like, this needs to be shared because I think it's actually good.
Yeah.
And I started sending copies to different publishers, said, hey, we raised this much money. I already know there's an audience out there. I don't want anything for the book, nothing up front, just a split of the revenue.
Wow.
And all of them turned it down, except King Spot reached out and said, we're interested. But all
they're glad they did.
I think they're happy.
I think that's putting them on the map. What other books do they do?
A lot of children age releases. I know they do that. But they did a book a couple years ago I forget what it's called, like "Marry Me." I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
But J Lo, it ended up being a movie on Netflix
Oh,
by
okay.
J Lo. So they did, but yeah, they're not like if you go, what's the known title?
Yeah.
I
It's
wouldn't
not
know.
one.
I had not heard of them
Yeah. I
before
hadn't either.
we. And a lot of people will ask me, why did you pick them? I picked them because they agreed to do it.
Yeah.
Image Pass, Boom, Dark Horse, every comic company that I could find. I would walk into a comic book store, write them all down,
Mm-hmm.
and wrote them all. None of them were interested. Um, and I would get back things like it's not our style, it doesn't fit with what we want to do, all this kind of stuff. And I'm just shocked. I'm like amazed. So really, I thought this book wouldn't really do as well. I thought when we got it to King Spot, I said, I think there's some audience out there who will like it.
Yeah.
Maybe we sell out before Halloween. That's what I was hoping.
You sold out week 1.
We sold out. Most stores sold out that night.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
that night. Only the big stores like Midtown, I think Golden Apple had some. There was some stores in Florida. They still had some issues like that following Monday, but it was
Gone.
It was gone. And it shocked me because there was 11,000 pre-orders on Diamond, and that was pretty good for a book that no marketing, no advertising.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, these are either they recognize my name from the covers I've done, the cards or something, and they're buying it because of that. Also, if it's distributed through Diamond, so you have previews, and if you flip through that thing, it was. I looked one day, I couldn't find it. I kept looking.
No.
You can't hardly find it in there because it's not unless you have money to advertise on the cover or something. You find it.
Yeah.
But I really didn't think it would do well because you couldn't even find it. So 11,000, I was very pleased. Oh wow, that's pretty good. Well, I found out that about a week and a day before release, Diamond had already sold out. That means that people had turned in orders late or whatever. So because you print over just a little bit for damages and all that stuff, all gone. So we knew, whoa, if that's sold out already, that means when they get distributed and anybody goes, oh, we want more of these, there'll be none. So we thought there's a good chance it could be a second printing.
Oh, yeah.
But we didn't know. You could still go all the way through Halloween and not sell them all at the comic store level. And no, we realized we was going to get to do a second printing about less than a week after it came out.
And that Halloween second print?
Yeah, I told him, I said, hey, I got an idea because a lot of people could just slap on the same cover, recolor it, something like that. I said, no, I want to do this. So I started on the 18th making that cover and had it finished by the time that it went to print. So it took me a little while, but I already had the idea of what I wanted on it. And that one has about, I want to say 3,000 some odd orders for the second printing, which is great.
Going. Yep. And is that Halloween a ratio one?
The Halloween homage to the Halloween movie one is a ratio, and it's a free incentive that we're sending out to comic book stores. I think it's a 1 in 20. So I was thinking there would be hundreds. What orders I saw was 120 were ordered from Diamond, which that means that book is going.
I got to get that. What do I got to do?
I told Kid Spot when they told me that, I said, that book is going to be fire.
Oh my God, yes.
I said, what happened is out of that 3,000 and something, a lot of those stores didn't hit that ratio. They might have ordered 15, 10 or whatever. Oh. They didn't hit that 20. So only 120 are going to comic book stores. And I said, I already see it selling on eBay for like $50 at a pre-order. And I'm like, what's going on? I don't understand, because I really thought we would hit 250 easy. So that shocked me, and I'm like, man, that book is going to be nuts.
Can they print more or no?
I think King Spot is going to print a few extra.
Well, print
but it won't be
for me.
They still want to keep it low, so I think it'll be around a 200 print run. But they will have some probably on their website.
This might put them on the map.
It really helps them. It really does. I think this would make more creators go, hey, I might take my thing over there. Mark did well over there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's got to feel good that what was in your head, the art that you created on these covers, has got so many people excited. I mean, that's got to be amazing.
Yeah, but I didn't think that when I first released it. They released it a week early. It was supposed to come out September 25th.
Okay.
We didn't know till September 17th at night. The guy from Keen Spot wrote me. He said, "Mark, it's releasing tomorrow for some reason." He said, "I just saw it. It says releases for September 18th on Diamond, and your book's there because we already knew comic stores had it. They sent it out earlier because we had it printed." Which, that was the thing is by having them already done, we don't have to worry about is the inker turning it in, and all this. So they had already been there, and I thought, we have to wait a week before release. But I thought I had a week to get my nerves straightened out and all this, right? I was going to have social media. I was going to put things on social media every day. So then it's just released, and then I'm just so nervous because it's like you're releasing your baby into the world.
That's right.
What happens? And I was so nervous that day. I was just sick to my stomach. And because here's the thing, I already knew that people like my art style.
Yeah.
The writing didn't know it all. From the Kickstarter, but that's a 300 sample size.
Right.
They're pretty much fans already.
Yeah.
So they could be like, I like it, but maybe it ain't that good, but they'd still like it.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
So I was worried about that so much. And then the reviews started coming in, and I'd see YouTube, and then people were like, "Oh, this is pretty good. I like it." And then people I started getting messages, and they're liking it, and they're loving the insides and all that, the interiors. They're loving the writing, the covers, and it was still hard for me to grasp because I'm like, why now is everybody loving this stuff? Because like you've shown on your show before, I've done a lot of covers in this last year, but now it's finally it's neat to be recognized finally that people are going, hey, but there was people out there before saying he's one to watch, watch what he's doing. So I think that's neat. I just think it somehow got put in front of enough eyeballs finally, and I just asked my wife yesterday. I was saying, did you ever think it would happen? Like, did you think I would? Because it has.
It's just
there is a level that I've jumped right quick. And I said, did you think it would happen? And she said, yeah. She said it just had to get enough eyeballs. And I was like, that's it. Because that's the thing. You can be really good, but it just never. Not enough people see it. Yeah. Right?
Well, the Lobo thing, I think, was a springboard too.
That did. It all built. Because if it hadn't been for Lobo, I don't know if Monsters does as good because a lot of people might have ordered it on that Lobo.
Yeah.
Enough comic shops ordered it with that 11,000 that it gotten enough people's radar. Because if it would have been a 4,000 unit order, maybe a lot of people still don't see it.
Right.
And then when the book hits and there's some covers that they like, it's created. It's like hysteria around it. It's crazy.
Well, look at the King Spawn cover now.
Yes.
So I was saying, we were talking, that should be the movie poster. Everybody in line was like, can you believe this King Spawn?
Yeah.
And it's not like Spawn's brand new and never been done. But it's never been done that looks like that, where you look at it and say, that is King Spawn.
Yep.
It's not like some guy sitting in the throne. That's King Spawn. It's done. It could be in every comic book store in a canvas print. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks that good. But I wanted to ask you something because I know we're going to wrap on time. What music are you listening to? If you're into all this stuff, if you had a band that came to your house tonight and played in the living room,
if I tell you who I listen to, I might lose fans.
No, this is the real Mark.
Someone asked me this on Discord one time when I was on there, and I said, "Man, you're gonna laugh at me," but because I listen to so much stuff, right? Because I'm working 12 hours a day drawing, right? And I gotta hear something. So sometimes podcasts.
Okay.
That's why my wife laughs at me because I listen to almost everything comic related because I'm sitting there. I'm having to break up the monotony, but I will listen to music.
All right.
And I will listen to a lot of 80s stuff like, Chicago, Journey, all that stuff. But I will catch myself every now and then listening to like Neil Diamond.
All right. What's wrong with that?
Barry Manilow.
No, Barry Manilow's home
It's
show.
but me and you are closer in age, but I'll be like, because it'll just, it
You
pops
sing
up
along.
because I do know all them songs. I do.
There you go.
And my kids will come downstairs and be laughing at me. They'll be like, "Yeah, I know Dad's working. He's in there singing that
Singing
song."
Mandy?
Yeah, what's that one? But there's Mandy, but what the Neil
Sweet
Diamond?
Caroline.
Yes,
There you
Sweet
are.
Caroline. I'm just sitting there drawing away. But I'll listen to almost all kinds of, Kiss.
Okay, stop right there. You see this?
Yep.
I can't imagine how cool a Kiss cover would be if you did it.
Yes, I would. I drew Kiss one time years ago just to do it.
Yeah.
When I was practicing, I don't know if it exists on the internet anywhere, but I love Kiss. That's part of that late 70s,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Again, it's like they're superheroes to
Yeah.
me. But besides that, they did this awesome music.
Yeah.
It was just the look of them.
Oh, yeah.
And there's never been anybody like that
No.
since. And I love Kiss. I would love to work one day with that license or something to where, do a
They just
a
sold it,
cover.
so it's out there.
Oh, I would love to do anything because every character was amazing.
Yeah.
I even like the other ones, the replacements.
Yeah, sure.
As long as they had the makeup on, I was just like, wow.
So I pictured, because Kiss has 20 different comic books out. From the first Marvel Super Special to,
I want to say
to
McFarlane
Dark Horse.
did
Psycho.
one of the, Psycho Circus.
Yeah, so there's a ton out there. Evil Dead versus Kiss and Scooby-Doo versus Kiss in the cartoon.
Yes.
Nothing has touched what Kiss could really be. The horror of Gene Simmons.
Oh.
I picture you doing that and knocking it out of the park.
I would set it around, late 70s. And I would
Destroyer outfits.
Yes. They did that movie that time. What was that movie?
Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I would do that, but awesome. You know what I'm saying? I would do it in that time period. And I watched that movie, which it's not a great movie, but I love it.
Hanna-Barbera.
I've even watched the it was a Halloween special and they were
Paul Lynde.
Yes, I've watched that every Halloween. Halloween because of them on there. I would love to do something like that. I've told you, I think I can get the cat out of the bag on that because Todd's already mentioned it. Spawn 77 I'm going to be doing. They're announcing the big thing.
Wouldn't they love to be in 1977 Rock and Roll Overday outfits right there on a TV screen? Paul Lynde Halloween special, somebody watching it?
I would jump at something like that to do.
You'd kill it.
What I'm hoping now, though, with the little recognition I'm getting out of Monsters is that if someone does give me a project, they will at least let me plot it or let me write it would be great. But if I can at least plot it to where, like the Spawn 77, I'm getting to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's more fun to me to do a story that I'm involved with than someone else give me, say, hey, draw this, Mark.
Right.
And, so I'm hoping that gets me in the realm of people's mind where they go, hey, he's not that bad of a writer, because I know I'm more known for art, but plotting and stuff like that. If I can get into that, it's just better for me with my the stories, the way I tell them.
Yeah.
If I can have a hand in it.
Well, I'll tell you, the Monsters. I didn't know what to expect. I've never read a book of yours, and I don't know that you did a book like that. Except for what was that? You did some penciling on Ultraman or something like that.
Ultraman Special.
Which I almost bought, but it wouldn't get here in time for us to talk about
it. It's Ultraman Special #1, 2002, 2001, something like that came out.
22 years ago.
Yes. And it took that long to finally get, that's the next Interiors I did was this.
Yeah.
So that book might shoot up in price.
I hope it does, because it was only $2.70 on eBay.
Yes. I remember when that came out, I thought I was something else.
That is something else.
But I never, I thought, I'll get an email.
You still get a royalty check on that?
No. I thought, though, I would get another job offer. And the next thing I did in comics was in 2006, I started doing concept art for Batman and Marvel stuff.
The Corgi stuff?
Yes.
I heard you talk about that.
But not, any comic book stuff. And so I really thought that dream was dead. I thought there was no way I would get to do comic books. So it's just, you can't imagine. I'm so thankful every day. I'm like, wow, I got to do that. And it was my first comic book cover. I said, if I ever get a comic book cover, I'm going to go out in the backyard and just scream and put my
Did
hands
you?
up. And I sure did.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it just brought a tear to my eye when I walked into a comic book store and saw my stuff on the shelf.
I can't imagine that.
Because it was such a long journey. Everybody thinks, they either they don't know how old I am, because I'm 49, I was born in 75.
Yeah.
Or they think, I just decided to start doing this. This was the dream from when young
17 years
13-year-old.
old.
Yeah,
right?
well, when I was 13, that's when people asked what I was going to do. That's what I was doing. I mean, I was drawing back. I was in first grade. I was drawing bunny rabbits, but I was drawing something. I remember in sixth grade, drawing stories, in panels and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So that's what was always my dream. I said that's what I'm going to do, and the dream didn't happen. It's tough because when the dreams don't come true. And was I ready? I don't know at those times.
Yeah.
I thought I was, but your life takes a detour.
Yeah.
I still got to do some amazing things. I got to draw Superman, Spider-Man, Hulk, but not in the capacity that I wanted.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, it was, you might have heard this before, but I turned to my wife in 2020 around February, and I said, I think I'm done. And she's like, what are you done with? I said, with drawing. It's the art. It's not working. I said, it's just can't happen. And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
Everybody shut down. Everybody's and my kid, at that time, he was about 16. He had drew the horror. You might have saw that over there, horror icons print that I have.
Yeah.
Those. He drew a version of that. And he said, I want to have an art contest with you, Dad.
Oh.
And I said,
how
really?
cool is that?
And he said, I drew this and I've already put it on Instagram. Let's see you top that. And I said, really? You really want to see? I said, I don't know, because I think I'll beat you. So then I said, why don't we take something I did when I was your age? So we did that. We put them together with
that's cool.
a Batman that I did at that age against his. I think I won. I can't remember.
Oh.
But then to gloat, I said, now I'm going to redo your design. I'm going to paint it for you.
And that you had prints out.
And I have prints. And when I did that, people were just overwhelming response. I'm like, well, maybe I need to pull out those monsters again that I had, because I always had those in the back of my mind. And I started doing some because, again, COVID, and week after week, I was putting on things as quick as I can get them done, just put them on Instagram. No knowledge of what I would do with them.
Yeah.
And after I got about 30 or 40, I was like, I'll turn these into trading cards. And then...
What a cool idea, because trading cards had its big run.
Yes.
And then it died. You couldn't give them away.
Yeah.
And then now they're
I knew how to do that. I knew the business a little bit because I had done sketch cards for Marvel and DC, and I was like, all you got to do is print them. And they'll, if you find a place that'll put them in packs for you. I said, I understand. I grasp that. I can understand.
Put bubble gum in it?
Put bubble gum in it. The first series had bubble gum in it.
With the white powder on them to keep
yes,
the bubble gum?
And it had 3D glasses in every big box.
Oh, wow.
And there was 12 cards in every box that had 3D where you could put the glasses on and see that. So because I want to make it retro. And I remember the printer said, hey, Mark, you do all this stuff. You ain't going to make much money. I said, I don't care. I got to do it that way, though. It's got to be like it in my mind from the 80s.
Sure.
And we did it. Huge. It sells.
Huge.
It sells out.
On Amazon, I see boxes for $169 and up.
Yeah.
Then there must be new old stock or whatever.
Yeah, you can't. Series 1 basically sold out they sell out within a year or less. So when it came out, by the time I was going to do another one, the Halloween edition, it sold out.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't even think I got 2 at home for my kids, and that was it. And then the Halloween edition, it was selling pretty good. And then when the Spawn covers come out, gone.
Oh yeah.
The only ones I got are the ones I brought here. And then the Series 2 came out last December. It'll probably sold out completely by this December.
Yeah.
So I don't order a lot of them. I get maybe 600-700 boxes made of those. So they're very limited in it and stuff. Because I didn't have a distributor. Now though, if I do another one, I might. I have connections. I can get it
knocking on your door.
I can get it in comic book stores and stuff across the country now. So. So that's changed a lot. But if it wasn't for the monsters blowing up like it did, they are the reason I was able to get into comics.
Yeah.
Thomas Healy at Spawn saw some of my monster portraits from Series 1 of the monster cards and said that would be really weird and quirky to put that in on a Spawn cover.
Oh, yeah.
And said that's why we went with portraits for the first 4.
Gotcha. Which are fantastic. And thank you for signing all of those because I grabbed them. Listen, I just... Could Monsters be an optioned series, movie? Do you see anything like that happening with this?
I would love it because once you read it more, a lot of people go, "Oh, it's and I don't want to stop them, buy it and read it, but they'll be like, "Oh, it's just Universal Monsters." I'm like, first, it's not Universal
No.
Monsters; it's literary monsters, but they are in it, and I'm adding a few more pages of them, but they're in it like this much. It's
Right.
really a story about this bigger world building that I did. There's a group like kind of like GI Joe, Cobra, things like that in it. There's like a terrorist group. There is like I said, there's some robots that you'll see.
See, I can't wait to. I wish I would have got the whole damn set.
It's really something. There's I really take you down a journey, and I thought I might lose people by issue 8, but when they read 8, they said,
Where's 9?
They couldn't believe what they said. Man, you're not tricking people, but what I did was I have a couple twists in there.
Uh-oh.
And they were like, I see it when I went back, but I haven't had one person catch it yet.
Oh, really? The challenge accepted.
Oh, it's I'm throwing the gauntlet out there. I've got some major twists that happen around 8, and no one has caught it yet. But they're saying, yeah, the clues were there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's what I want. When I watch a movie, I can't stand it if I go, I already know what they're going to do.
Oh, I know.
And then when they throw me for a loop, but then I'll go and, okay, you threw me for a loop because you kept information from me and never hinted at it.
Yeah, but
I don't like
go
that.
Back. No.
But if it's there and I just didn't catch it, love it. So I said I want to do that. I wanted to, and again, I wanted to show that this is a bigger world of monsters. I would love to see Monster Slayer walking around. I'd love somebody to cosplay it one day. I'd just love to see him walking around because that's my baby right there.
I thought the look of it was, so there's the cover, and we're going to show it on the screen. It's an homage to
Spider-Man 1, yeah.
And it knocks your socks off. Like that alone, I don't think it shows a monster on the cover. No. I think it's just him.
Yeah, it's just him.
That alone was an amazing. I think it's one of the standout covers of the whole series.
I was very thrilled. It got up to number 15 on the trending comics.
Yes, the first week.
Yeah, to be not a monster, because I do get a lot of things where people are like, "Oh, it's because it was the Bride of Frankenstein," or "Oh, it's because of this." So I'm like, you're just feeding me. You're just going to make me sit there, and I'm going to make sure there's a Slayer cover that's number 1 one day. That's just going to fuel me. But I'm like, hey, if whatever reason you want to buy it to read it, and if you like it, then that's whatever got you in the door. But I just love telling stories, and I wanted to keep doing it, and I just can't wait to show you where this story goes.
Oh, it is a great story, and I've only read the first one. I was hooked, and I am as finicky as it gets with comic stories. If I say it's poop to me, of course. But this one. I said to my wife, "You got to read this. This is good." And again, every panel looks like it took forever because it's not just scratch, boom, get the word. It is really a piece of art in every panel.
Well, I'm hoping if it ever does turn into some other kind of media one day, they can use this as the basis for that. Because it's like at one time when the Monster Series 1 cards were about to come out, they Nacelle, the people who did the Toys That Made Me and stuff for Netflix, they optioned, they wanted a agreement thing, I forget what it's called, like kind of like an option the characters to see if they could turn them into action figures, movies, TV for Netflix.
I talked about that on one of my shows.
Yep.
If you had Mark Spears monster action figures, they would be up there with that. What is that? Cryptic something.
Oh, yeah.
The high
yes,
end,
I know
not the Hot Toys, but they're...
No, I know what you're talking about,
and they're well done, super... I mean, Todd...
I might be able to talk to him, because I do know him, but it's... I don't know if right now he'd say, Mark, you got what issue? You know? So I don't know yet. But I think we did a deal like that, and they wanted it was a 1-year agreement where it's a shopping agreement, so they could shop it around, see if they could. And the main reason they said is my art style, I could actually easily do the pitch for them, right?
Sure.
Like go in there, and it'd be like they're watching the movie already. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. This is great. They looked at a guy who was doing writing Flash at that time, the TV series. They looked at a couple other guys. They're like, I don't know what to do with this because it was just the cards, right? They had a little bit right up on the back, but they said there's no story here. And I said, I can write. I said, I'll write a little bit. I'll write you a story. That no, it's okay. So they messed around with that. We did already do the sides and everything for the figures. We was going to have 4 figures come out, and the figures were like a go. That was going to be their first thing they released. But they just the next week bought Robo Force. If you know that, and then they bought right after that they bought the Sectars. They bought all these things.
Sectars just came out last week,
right? And I was the only property really that they licensed. Everything else they owned, and they were like,
"Okay,
we're going to put yours on the back burner, Mark," because I was supposed to be the first to come out.
Yeah.
So they were going to do that, and then I was sitting there going, "Okay, so the figures are going to be waiting, but maybe the movie or TV." So they changed it to a 4-year deal because they thought it was going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I did that. Well, 2 years went by, nothing was going on, and I said, "Hey, let's just back out of that because I need to have my own little thing." And they're like, "Okay, let's do that. So it's okay." And so I got out of that agreement. That might be a blessing in disguise. It was, and but that just show you that I was looking at that TV, movie, stuff like that. I think a TV series would be amazing with these characters.
And if you look at these things like Tubi, I watched one of the best horror movies I've seen all year called Lowlifes.
I haven't.
If you want a twist that you think like I thought the twist was the first 15 minutes and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God. Nope.
Oh man.
Nope.
I love that.
Nope. It's good. Lowlifes on Tubi. Tubi is doing originals now.
Wow.
Now Tubi's is that freebie thing.
Right.
It's on every smart TV and you look at it and go, I'm not watching that crap.
Yeah, you go to like Netflix or
They're
something.
They're doing horror originals.
Wow. I will have to check it out.
I highly recommend that. You get something like that on there, I think this thing could be all kinds of stuff. I love the action figures because I know you do that card and you do that card some justice and that nobody take it out of the card.
Well, one company, I don't want to say which one it was, but one company contacted me about a year ago before the comic was even started and said, hey, let's do little like retro action figures.
Like a Super 7 company type thing?
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it said, and we throw your art on it. This thing sell out the door. And I'm like, I said, I like that idea. So we did some research and the people, I did some polls and people were like, they wanted the Wolfman Werewolf first, then like Frankenstein and then my Slayer guy. And I was like, okay. And then like Dracula was the fourth. And I was like, okay, I could do that. And we looked into it more. And then we was like, okay, what if we waited though? And I said, for the comic series, I said, it'd be stupid to put that out and then do comics. Yeah. And I said, let me do the comics. So then we really got a following. And so I put that on the back burner and I didn't sign anything with them or whatever. So, I'm on the lookout to do some action figures. I think my audience would kill for a few of those figures.
But I'll tell you, not that you need my opinion, I wouldn't go with the retro Kenner look. No, I would go with the highly articulated.
That's what.
As much as you put into this, it's got to look
That's
like
what I was telling my wife, that if you do the retro, they're only about it for my artwork because the figure will barely show any of the concept.
Even if you cell shaded
it needs to be like a McFarlane, NECA, something like that, to where it's very detailed. That you can pose those guys and have them, about to hit each other. So that was another reason I was like, the retro just wouldn't work to me. If you already had those and they want to put out a retro to please that audience, but no, I'm with you.
Because like your cover of what is it, Frankenstein's monster and Dracula, and what is it one that almost looks like the Hulk 181 cover, almost.
Oh yeah, it's the one with the reflection.
Yeah.
It's
no, not the reflection. No. It's two battling.
Oh, Hulk 181. It's Werewolf and Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an exclusive. I haven't got to see it in person.
Oh, I did.
He wanted me to put Yeti on the bottom corner over there.
The Wendigo thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. They really wanted to go for it.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't have that character in the comic book at all. He's like, nope, just put it in there. And I'm like, all right.
Oh, wow.
So I might have to put that in the book one day and just kill him off in like a panel or something. But
you got to be having a blast right now.
I am. I mean, it's so fun. My goal was, if I could ever do monsters as like my job, and I could just like put everything out to the side, I said that would be the ultimate dream. And it's getting to where maybe
Oh
I could
yeah.
do that.
Oh yeah.
We will know next week what the orders of number 2 are, and if they're close to number 1, that means it's going like this.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing to where
It's the number one comic 2 weeks in a row trending.
it's crazy to be a publisher that when you look at number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is all Marvel.
And you see the competition you're beating out.
Yes, I mean
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's
But well deserved.
Yeah, I would love to get it to where one day Monsters is a monthly book or
that'd be
close to
awesome.
that. So I'm up for it. Like I said, I'm going to do the Spawn series, and then after that, it's just all Monsters. If people are wanting it, I'm going to do 9 through whatever.
That'd be
The
great.
story I got to tell to resolve what's going on now would take, I think 30 issues would be nice or more. I would keep going because there's so many. You can focus on this other monster. You can go over here. I
Yeah.
can tell backstories.
You can go back to where the Slayer, you had said the Slayers were other Slayers.
Yes, there were. I do want to show you the other side. I've already designed them and stuff. And you know how this one has the red eyes and
Yeah.
the red right here. The others are different color. They're blue with blue eyes and stuff like that. So I think that would be very interesting to show where they came from, what happened to them, and all that stuff. So I have a lot of ideas that I would love to get through to, and if I could, finally get to where I could do 30 to 100 issues. Oh, that'd be so awesome. It would be. It'd be awesome.
Now you're still living in Alabama, right?
Yep, Alabama. Yep, North Alabama.
And you can find Mark Spears on Instagram, Facebook.
Mark Spears art is on all those, right?
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything. And then there's also a Mark Spears Monsters Facebook page too.
Good.
I think there's a group for the cards on there too for when they're collecting, they want to trade and stuff like that. So, but yeah, if you ever had to get a hold of me, but don't write me, ask me if there's any. I've had so many people write me in the last 2 weeks. You got any bride covers left?
Oh my God! You got asked every time here.
Yeah, everybody wants.
I think it was the first thing I asked. Too.
It's like when you win the lottery and everybody comes out like, "Hey man, what's up?"
Got a couple bucks.
Yeah, ain't you my cousin?
Yeah.
I've got hit up for so many bride covers, and I'm like,
That's got to come back out.
At first, I was like, it wasn't that big first couple days, so I'm like, oh yeah. Here, $5.99, and I'm like, "Whoa, hold on!"
I paid $50 for it.
Wow!
I paid $50 for it before we had set any of this up. I saw it. I'm like, "Holy crap!" I don't know what it. I mean, there's a couple things there.
Yeah, it's a couple,
but it's gorgeous. I said, "I got it." So I searched whatnot. A guy had it.
Wow!
And I buy it now, and I said, "Boom," because that was the lowest price I found, $50.
I saw it go for $150.
Yeah,
and the last couple of days, I think they've been in the 80s. But it's hard to say. A lot of people say, "Oh, maybe it's going down." I don't know if it's really going down. It's just, some people will do $150. Plus, you don't know what.
The little deal on the side,
thing. So I don't know. I think it's hovering around 80, which is great. I mean, that's just amazing.
It's a book that.
And if the series takes off, like I'm hoping, that book won't stay that. I mean, because
no.
That's what
I think I grabbed every variant from you, except for the metal one. I'm not a big metal fan, although I kept seeing it come back out. I was like, damn it, should I go ahead and get it? The variant, there's not a bad variant in there. Yeah, usually you say, I didn't get the sketch one.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you a little advice real quick. On number 2, I had saw the orders for about a week ago. Right? Yeah. They're not all in yet. So I'll know about Tuesday what the orders are. But I saw each covers and how many was ordered. There's a cover that for number 2 that is going to be ordered very low because people don't understand who that is. Because on the cover it's a ninja, right? He's slicing somebody, and that's a very important scene in the book.
Okay.
That one had like 100 orders.
Oh, I'm going to order them
and all. The other ones, thousands.
And Diamond's the distributor.
So
your local comic book store can order from Diamond.
Yes, and get that. They have up until, I think, Monday to order.
Final order cutoff.
Okay. I wouldn't sleep on that cover. I told people at the beginning, don't sleep on the series. Now I wouldn't sleep on that cover because that is a character that that pops up a
All
lot,
right.
and that's his debut.
That's his first appearance?
First appearance is in that book.
We
and
love first
I'm
appearance.
thinking comic shops are like, oh, this is only selling because I'm going to order the monster covers. I'm like, yep,
Wait.
you just wait. You'll see.
Look at New Mutants 98.
Yes.
Right? What
Yes,
happened there?
Exactly. So, yeah, I would recommend getting that cover if I was going to get one. There's a great EC homage with the werewolf on that on those 5. So you got that one. You got the ninja. There's a Spawn homage. I forget what a creature. Just original cover with the creature holding.
Got that tattoo.
Doing the monster carry. They call it.
Yeah.
And then there's I can't remember what the other one is. There's one more cover these are all just your normal regular variants.
Yeah.
So, but yes, Monday is the deadline on that.
We better rock and roll. Monday at 5 Eastern, probably, right?
Probably. I don't even know. They tell me it could be Sunday night, but I'm thinking it's Monday. Check. I would go to right when you see this video. Go and order. From the comic book store, yes. Go tell them, hey, I want that cover. Because a lot of times they will only order what they think they'll sell, right?
Yeah.
So they'll be like, I'm not getting this other cover.
Yeah.
And that might have been happened with the Bride. I don't know what happened there. But again, 2,000 were made of that. But
you could have sold tenfold that.
Oh, I wish they asked me
so much
they said they asked me how many you want of every cover, Mark, for your comps. 10. So I should have said, well, I was
100.
thinking. I was sitting there thinking I could get 100 of every one of them, put them in a box, never even open them out of the plastic, and just put them up and saying. But I honestly, my confidence on this series, I was like, I will have these boxes forever. Oh, if I could go back, I would say give me 100 of everything.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would have put them in storage and a bag and board them all.
I would too.
But yeah, I'm thinking number 2 is going to be huge, especially because the orders we got of the.
So what's the release date on that?
November 20th or
so
18th or so.
Treat.
Yeah, it's for Thanksgiving. I made an oversized monster issues, about 31, 32 pages. It's a little bit bigger than the first one. Gave you a little bit more meat.
Yeah.
More monsters. I added the monster brides. The brides of Dracula. I saw
that
in there.
Now they're wearing sheer
outfits
again.
Yes. Well, that's what monsters wear. I go to the monster store
and it's only sheer.
It's only sheer. It's
they're larger.
It's ripped pants for the guys, and then sheer stuff for the girls.
And their hair's perfect.
Yes,
always. Even if they're a monster,
yeah.
Even if they've been in a coffin all day, their hair is perfect.
Yes,
I love it. This has been a blast, man. Thank you so much. I've had a great time. We spent most of the day together.
Yeah,
and watching you interact again as we started with this interview, it's amazing. If Mark Spears is in your town, you got to go. See him, chat with him, buy his stuff, bring stuff for him to look at. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what the comic community is about. It's taking care of each other. It's having a good time. It's talking about what we love. I mean, we talked Kiss. You got to come over to the house if you're ever near Nashville. I got a life-size Gene Simmons and all their guitars.
Oh my
goodness. And we'll talk Kiss in a minute.
Yes.
But this has been a wonderful time. Check out Mark Spears on all the social medias. And thank you so much for being here. Mark, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see y'all later. Bye now.